Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. Staunch Duterte critic Sonny Trillanes sues the former president and his former aide, now Senator Bongo, for plunder and graft. Go is not surprised, calling the charges a rehash.
And is the missing Saboneros case inching closer to trial? Relatives of the disappeared and justice officials are hopeful as a preliminary probe into the case wraps up.
And Senate President Tito Soto is 100% certain that Senator Ping Lacson will be back in November as Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman. Is it a comeback with a vengeance?
Alam naman natin na magkadugtong ang bituka ni Bongo at Duterte.
To Trillanes, you are barking at the wrong tree. Kung seryoso ka talaga, bakit di mo kasuhan yung mga financials mo? Yung mga kontraktor, huwag kang magmalinis dito.
Bawal po ito, di ba? Hindi mo pwedeng bigyan ng kontrata yung tatay at kapatid mo.
Former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV has filed an updated complaint for graft and plunder against former President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator Bongo. The complaint stemmed from the alleged irregular award of 6.95 billion pesos worth of infrastructure projects in Davao from 2007 to 2018. Aside from Duterte and Go, Trillanes also sued before the Office of the Ombudsman businessmen Desiderio Lim Go and Alfred Almero Go, owners of CLTG Builders and Alfrego Builders and Supply. Trillanes said CLTG has been awarded 4.6 billion pesos worth of projects by the DPWH in the past decade, while Alfrego bagged 88 million pesos worth of projects from 2005 to early 2016. In July 2024, Trillanes filed graft and plunder complaints against the same respondents with the Department of Justice. The case was endorsed to the office of then Ombudsman Samuel Martires, who dismissed the complaint. Martires' action prompted Trillanes to revise and update his complaint, citing that Desiderio and Alfred are the father and half-brother of Senator Go. He also said that the name of the company, CLTG, even carries the initials of the lawmaker's real name, Christopher Lawrence Tesoro Go. Trillanes likewise claimed that when Duterte became president in 2017, CLTG was able to secure 5 contracts. That's when it entered into a partnership with St. Gerard Construction, owned by Sara and Curly Vizcaya.
Alam naman natin na magkadugtong ang bituka ni Bongo at Duterte, kaya hindi niya pwedeng ipagkaila na hindi na impluwensyahan ito. Tapos, nung senador na si Bongo, ganun din. Kahit na senador siya, siya pa rin ang nag-a-act as the alter ego of Duterte. Talagang siya pa rin yung special assistant. Kaya ito ay maliwanag na violation sa ating batas. Bawal po ito, di ba? Hindi mo pwedeng bigyan ng kontrata yung tatay at kapatid mo.
Reacting to the case in a press conference, Go said the charges are meant to divert public attention from the real perpetrators of the flood control fiasco.
To Trillanes, you are barking at the wrong tree. Kung seryoso ka talaga, bakit di mo kasuhan yung mga totoong mga corrupt talaga? Bakit di mo kasuhan yung mga financials mo? Yung mga kontraktor, ayaw mong habulin dahil financer mo nga. Baka nga yung ginamit mong pondong yon nanggaling pa sa flood control. Huwag kang magmalinis dito. Huwag mong ilihis ang totoong issue.
Ombudsman Boying Remulla said his office will review the complaint against Duterte and Go, promising a thorough investigation.
Now in other news, Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson will be back as chairman of the powerful Blue Ribbon Committee, and Senate President Tito Soto is sure of it. Speaking to One Balita Pilipinas on 1PH Today, Soto said Lacson is open to resuming leadership of the investigating panel, prompted by the belief that several key issues still remain unresolved. Soto added Lacson's reconsideration came after appeals from fellow senators and the public.
Ako, tingin ko si Senator Lacson, 100% na babalik bilang Blue Ribbon Committee Chair. Marami pang hindi nauungkat. At kung ito'y makakatulong, ang tingin niya siguro, mas makakatulong ito sa ICI at doon sa Ombudsman and the Department of Justice.
There is still no confirmation from Lacson on whether or not he will return as leader of the Blue Ribbon Committee. But in a statement yesterday, Lacson warned of possible consequences from his comeback, including losing some members of the majority bloc and even Soto's Senate presidency. Lacson said he has the same question when he resigned last October 6. Is keeping the Blue Ribbon chairmanship worth losing to the minority bloc led by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano? Now to this, Cayetano for his part said there is no need to drag his group into what he calls a family matter within the majority. Cayetano insisted that Lacson's earlier decision to step aside came from dissatisfaction within their own ranks. Meantime, senators will be having a meeting to decide on Lacson's return. Senator J.B. Ejercito does not see anything wrong with it, since the majority bloc has already sorted out past concerns over the way the flood control investigation was handled in the past.
Kasi walang takers din no? And at the same time, I have to na parang ako pinapagbinta na sinasabing ako naging factor, wala no. Actually kami sa Lacson nag-uusap kami naman yan, no. Clarify naman ni SP Soto 'yon, no, nung nagkaroon kami ng caucus. Nagkaroon lang kasi ng nagkagulatan na siguro na hindi nagkaintindihan, pero it was clarified with the.
Moving on to another story now. Protesters once again flocked to Manila to express their anger, still on the rampant corruption in government. They first gathered at Daliwasang Bonifacio, then marched all the way to Mendiola. Upon reaching Mendiola, a group of farmers destroyed an effigy of President Bongbong Marcos using a makeshift sickle. These farmers came from Bulacan, said to be among the most affected in the flood control scandal. They lamented how pocketed funds could have been used to support the country's fledgling agriculture sector.
Yung farm to market road ay naging farm to pocket road. Sa pagsusuri namin, ang farm to market road ay nagkakahalaga bawat metro ng mahigit 300,000. Kaya napakalaking korupsyon yun.
Manila police estimated the number of today's protesters at around 600. Because of this, motorists were unable to cross the intersection of Recto and Legarda for more than 2 hours. Nevertheless, the police maintained maximum tolerance, with a reminder that a portion of Mendiola where the demonstrations are staged is not a freedom park.
May mga freedom park po tayo sa Maynila. Ito po yung Liwasang Bonifacio, Plaza Miranda, Plaza de la Plaza Moriones. Pero ito po ay hindi freedom park, kaya nakikiusap po tayo sa kanila. Ganun pa man po, mataas yung ating pagrespeto sa kanilang karapatan at kalayaan mamahayag.
Today's rallyists in Manila vowed to stage bigger street actions in the coming weeks. One on Bonifacio Day or November 30 that thousands are expected to attend.
Ang mga congressman, pinagtatakpan ng kapwa congressman. Ang mga senador, pinagtatakpan ng kapwa senador. Kaya nga merong independent commission. Pero ang independent commission, tinago naman yung kanilang proseso. Hindi man cover up, special treatment ang nangyayari. At hindi katanggap-tanggap yan.
And for our first guest tonight, we have on the show Sylvia Claudio, co-convener of the Tindig Pilipinas. Welcome to the Big Story, Professor. Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Ladies daw ang tawag ko sa inyo, but maybe I should call you gentlewomen.
Thank you, Professor. Unang-una, Various surveys are showing that the public is generally dissatisfied with the way the government has been handling the investigation into the flood control mess. What do you think? How could Tindig even press for more reforms in the way the government is handling this?
Yes, I think that the ICI could at least be a bit more transparent, no? I understand and I've heard that one of the reasons why they don't want to be as open or to live stream it is that the lawyers of the accused or those who will be accused tend to prepare their defenses very quickly once they see the emerging evidence. No, so that seems to be a good reason. But what we're hoping for is maybe there can be a compromise where the ICI can have a report maybe at the end of the week. But definitely, the process is to has to be more transparent because the political pulse demands it. People are really very angry, and there is a distrust, a well-earned distrust of our institutions at this point. So yes, we have. We urge our group will urge are really urging the ICC to be a bit more transparent.
There is also that concern that did Tindig seek an audience with the ICI because they gave in to a request from the U.S. Embassy while other civil society or civil organizations have not been given the same audience?
That has we haven't sought ICI audience yet, but we also urge another measure that might be helpful is to allow civil society organizations, persons of repute, well known, to have integrity, to be part of the ICI, and other perhaps investigative actions by the ICI, no? Kasi even at the local level, one can involve civil society organizations if that is because many of these investigations, as I understand, will really have to go to the local level, and many of the mayors didn't even know what was happening in their own area because we now know from the initial Senate investigation that the DPWH just downloaded all these fake projects without going through the local government units.
So you must be welcoming of the move to have Senator Ping Lacson back as Blue Ribbon Chair.
The Tindig Pilipinas was actually issued a statement that at this time we did not want to see a change in the Senate leadership. If you'll recall, several weeks ago, there was this news that there would be a change and that Senator Cayetano Alan Peter was going to be placed from the majority, was going to take over from the minority bloc now. They would become the majority. And we did not feel first that Senator Cayetano himself was a credible anti-corruption person, but we also felt that it was not going to be helpful, no, to the attempts to seek more clarity on what is happening. So we are. I think it's okay that Senator Lacson go back to the Blue Ribbon Committee, but we are also very aware that this is supposed to be in aid of legislation. And so we are also urging that the government, the ICI, our real bodies that should be handling this, from the Ombudsman to the Sandigan Bayan, already be urged to file the cases properly.
Okay. Professor, speaking of credibility and the Filipinos increasing distrust of institutions, I'm assuming that you guys, Tindig Pilipinas, and as well as the other CSOs, you're in support of the new ombudsman because agad-agad you went to his office to present your letter urging him to carry on the cudgels and investigate Vice President Sara Duterte's confidential fund misuse?
Yes, yesterday we submitted a letter urging Ombudsman Remulla to already begin looking into the misuse of confidential funds by Vice President Sara Duterte. Let me state that many of us in Tindig Pilipinas and some others, as private respondents, were the ones who filed the first impeachment complaint. And yesterday we were joined by some of those who filed the third impeachment complaint. No, like everyone else, we are supportive of a new leader but supportive in the way that we are watchful, that we would be praising any good action, but also pointing out if there are deficiencies. No, just a little lecture on my part. I think sometimes we are not civic-minded enough when we fail to realize praise when it is due is the way to look at all public officials. So we urged him, indeed, to start investigation of Sara Duterte.
Were you able to get a personal audience with the ombudsman?
Unfortunately, we asked the guard. The guard there didn't even know if Ombudsman Remulla had was in the premises. Ang nakuha lang namin nakapag-flag ceremony na daw siya. But understandably, he's also quite new to the office. He wasn't the what shall I say? The boards there announcing who are the current ombudsman didn't even have his name yet.
And he also is planning to ask for kumbaga courtesy resignation so they can reapply, alleging that there could be some members of the ombudsman's team could be midnight appointees. What are your thoughts there as a coalition, or the coalition's thoughts?
We have been a coalition since 2017. So we've seen the changeover from someone we believe was a good ombudsman, si Ombudswoman Carpio Morales, to someone who to us was very disappointing. And now we are looking forward indeed if Ombudsman Remulla will bring a change or raise again the standards of the office. No, we are hoping, and we have heard the analysis of some politicians and political analysts, that he is in a legacy mode, they say. So we're hoping that what we heard is true, and that he really is going to try to do a better job of this now. But again, I urge everyone to be watchful and see this and hold people accountable. We are in a very difficult national situation. But this is also, I guess, a time when we are called upon as ordinary citizens to step up, because we have lost all our faith. What we're seeing is all institutions of government really participated in this massive corruption. And therefore, it falls again to the citizenry to do what we cannot do as individuals, but we can do together as groups, to hold our institutions accountable and hopefully begin a better culture in each of those institutions.
But Professor, going back to that complaint or that letter that you filed before the ombudsman urging this probe into the confidential funds, the misuse of confidential funds of the vice president, is this also a way for Tindig Pilipinas to sustain the pressure and to get things moving? Because there is that ongoing a one-year bar on filing impeachment complaints. As we all know, after that flood control scandal erupted, medyo nawala na rin kasi sa attention ng mga tao yung impeachment complaint of the Vice President.
You're correct there, no? Because it is also a sad truth of our political life that one scandal kinds of erases the other. And unfortunately, though, these are clearly similar scandals coming from the same sort of system that allows these things to happen. And let me add also that it is very unfortunate to us and very angering, I think, that two camps are trying to harness the anger of the people against each other. Let's name them the Marcos dynasty and the Duterte dynasty in our analysis, when actually it crosses party lines and it crosses groups, no? So we would really urge na, since this is an opportunity uh, to clean up as much as we can, let's not forget other scandals. And that's not even an old scandal. It just got thrown out of the headlines because of this new one. But let's take this opportunity and let's not play politics as if we're choosing basketball teams and being pro this and pro that. Kung saan may mali, di prosecute natin lahat yan.
But Professor, in an attempt to promote transparency as well, I wanted to get your thoughts because over the last few days, we have lawmakers, senators, congressmen now releasing their SALNs. Do you welcome this, or do you still have apprehensions with the SALNs they're releasing?
On a personal note, I served government as a UP professor for 25 years. And we were made to put out our SALNs every year. And for a while, when I was an official, the people who were I was supervising as a director or dean of my institution, I would see their SALNs, no? And these are ordinary utility workers, clerks, administrative. Tatawanan nga kami sa poverty namin. And so, I think it's so unfair, or maybe an indication of the privilege that is pervasive in our government system, where we poorer members of the bureaucracy who are really doing our jobs, we don't steal, are the ones pa who have to expose our poverty, while those who should really be more accountable, who should really show us their net worth, have been shielded. And I know, because I have been in government for so long, that this started during the time of President Duterte, who refused to release his SALN.
But a lot of people are also pointing out that despite the fact that Ombudsman Boying already, took back the memo, there's still a lot of hindrances. Kumbaga, there's a lot of fine print that people did not maybe catch or did not bother to piece through. What are your thoughts on the new rules? Kumbaga, marami pa ring hurdles eh. Hindi pa rin basta-bastang anyone. It's not true, kumbaga, freedom of information that anyone can just access it.
Yes,
In
I think we have
addition
go-
to that, if I may add, Professor, should they not on their own already disclose and not wait for someone to request? Should that not be required of all government officials, whether elected or appointed?
Yes, I would agree with you, no? The spirit of that law, which I'll tell you again from personal experience, it's really a hassle to do that, SALN. It's really, if you're going to be truthful, it's an irritation. But we abide by that law because the spirit of the law really is for us to be able to show that our lifestyles are consistent with our salaries, and if we have more than wealth than what our salaries would vouch for, we can explain, no, where that came from. Sa simpleng level namin, somebody owns a sari-sari store, so yung income niya is more than her salary. Or, your parents already gave you your inheritance, lumaki for that year. These are easily explainable. The spirit really of the law is transparency by government officials, government personnel, and we really have to hold ourselves accountable to people. Again, it really saddens me that the rank and file are the ones who are held to the high standards that all government officials should be held to. And of course, the higher your salary, the more power you have, the more you should be held to the standards of service.
Now tell us, how have the protests been? What do you see the what's the impact on government? Do you see that because they see the people expressing their anger, there is some change, or will this just be swept away?
Yes. Says let me clarify. I'm not plugging my organization, but I do have to clarify that Tindig Pilipinas sits in the executive committee of the Trillion Peso March, now called the Trillion Peso March Movement. It's different from the one that you featured earlier in your newscast, the ones in Luneta. But I'm not trying to be competitive or anything, no, because what we saw in the first September 21 big rally was that many people came who are from various walks of life. This is significantly different from other rallies that we've been having, no? And bigger, I think, than the last big one was the one in Luneta on Pork Barrel during the time of Ninoy. But the people came, there were so many, they couldn't even see the stage anymore. But they sat and they just talked among each other because they really wanted to come and demonstrate their anger. And I had to bring home a sick spouse early, so we walked home through the crowds. And I saw Spider-Man, Elvis, Batman. I think the point I'm trying to make is this is really a spontaneous anger by people. And so we're seeing many, many types of protest, like we saw in many of the important instances of our nation's life. No? So there are cheers in basketball courts. These are spontaneous ones, led by the students. There are White Friday protests in some dioceses,
Pero
palaging meron.
effective ba? Effective ba?
I have to have faith na kaya sila kumilos dahil takot sila. Galit yung tao. Kasi nga, the reason why I'm pointing out that this is qualitatively different is because I'm one of those activists that keep shouting and people don't hear us all the time. We just feel that, okay, we're doing our job. If people listen, then thank you. If not, we still did our best as citizens. Oh, I'm very humble about it. I'm aware that organized groups like ourselves, kahit madami-dami na rin kami, drop in the bucket. So when we are joined, as we have been, by so many people, I think that is what is effective. And again, it's just that, as I said, we have very little power when we're alone. We're even having very little power when we're organized groups. But when it's this kind of a movement that we're seeing people joining us from all walks of life, then I think it is effective. May I say one more thing just to make very clear? No, our group would like that reform to happen in peaceful ways and within the bounds of our constitutional processes. Because that is also, I think, what is scary in the light of this political situation. There are some who, in the words of the CBCP, might be taking advantage and using for their own ends the anger of the people.
Okay. We got that loud and clear. We thank you for talking to us. That was Tindig Pilipinas co-convener Sylvia Claudio.
All right, we're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, while insisting he's not defending the power couple contractor, Senator Rodante Marcoleta once again slams efforts of restitution for Sara and Curly Discaya. We have the details of that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching the big story here on One News. State prosecutors will soon decide whether or not to elevate to the court the case of the missing Sabongeros. On the last day of the preliminary investigation at the Justice Department, the complaint from the disappeared relatives was finally submitted for resolution. The complainants said they have made a pact to not be swayed by any offer of settlement from businessman Atong Ang, one of the accused.
Ngayon po, tapos na po yung PI. Ang laki po ng pag-asa namin na makakamit na namin yung justisya pagdating po sa resolution. Sana po pumubor sa amin, magkaroon na po ng warrant. Meron naman po kami mga ebidensya at saka sa tinatakbo ng case namin. So nakikita ko naman maganda at sa tingin ko po magkakaroon po kami ng justisya.
Meanwhile, Ang's camp wants a re-investigation into the missing Sabongeros case, this time by the CIDG. Ang's counsel, Attorney Gabby Villarreal, believes evidence presented by the complainants are not enough to pin the alleged crime to his client.
We are hopeful, and we're quite confident actually that we are hopeful that the case will be rebundled back to CIDG for investigation in view of the fact that the evidences submitted do not have enough credibility, enough to establish what's called the quantum of evidence for prima facie case, with enough evidence to have a probable outcome of a guilty verdict.
Self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan blasted this argument, calling it a mere tactic to sway the result of the probe.
Mag-aantay na lang tayo ng desisyon ng Department of Justice. Siguro makakamit na ang hustisya ng mga pamilya na nawawalan. Alam naman natin talaga lahat kung sino ang mastermind dito. At alam naman nila na hindi naman ako basta-basta lulutang ng ganito. Within 16 years ako kay Mr. Atong Ang kung wala akong pinanghawakan agin sa kanya.
Ganyan naman po sila taktika naman po nila yan unang-una, kung sa ebidensya lang naman, nandiyan naman yung whistleblower namin. Lahat naman po ng sinasabi niya, totoo. At meron naman po na tayo nakikita. At tulad na lang nung kung saan tinatapon, meron naman po nakikita. Although hindi nga nagmamatch yung DNA, pero at least kahit papaano, talagang meron pong bones na nakikita doon. At saka yung sinasabi nilang ibabalik nila sa CIDG, ano lang naman nila kasi alam naman natin ano nangyari. Yung CIDG kasi meron mga head dyan na nababayaran nila kaya gusto nila doon ibalik ang investigasyon. So far, sa ngayon kahit naman ibalik yan doon, pat sa tingin ko, yung hustisya pa rin namin ang ang makakamit namin.
Chief Prosecutor Charlie Guhit assured the DOJ will be fair in handling the complaint, which resolution will be handed down at the soonest possible time. At the moment, 57 out of the 62 accused have already filed counter affidavits, including Atong Ang, actress Gretchen Barreto, and former NCRPO Chief Jonel Estomo. The Philippine Coast Guard is also continuing the search for possible human remains in Taal Lake. From July to October 12, they have recovered at least 887 human bones. According to DOJ spokesman Polo Ramirez, they are still awaiting results of a DNA match from the recovered evidence.
Hindi na po natin kailangan tinun pa yung DNA evidence. Okay, it may add to whatever evidence we have now, but if the assessment by the panel of prosecutors is that there is sufficient evidence to proceed to trial, given what we have on hand, there will be no need to look into the DNA evidence or to wait for the results of the DNA examination.
We'll try to resolve the case as soon as possible within the period provided by the rules. So right now, wala pang specific date when are we going to issue the resolution for this case. Because there are a lot of documents submitted attached to the counter affidavits of the respondents.
Now let's discuss the case of the missing Sabongeros and other issues with Commissioner Rafael Vicente Calinisan, Vice Chairperson and Executive Officer of the National Police Commission or NAPOLCOM. Welcome back to the Big Story, Commissioner.
Yes, magandang gabi, Ses, Sean, and Pauline. Nice to see you again.
Since the preliminary investigation into the missing Sabongeros case is almost done, the criminal aspect that is, what's your update on the administrative cases the police officers are facing?
To be very candid, I've been trying to avoid media interviews for the past weeks. Pero di ako nakaindi sa Yoses eh. So nakasalang ako dito.
So ano po ang update,
Yes.
sir?
Let's put it this way. We have been ready. We mentioned that we will finish this case in 60 days. And actually, we have been ready after the lapse of that 60 days. 2 weeks ago, nag-lapse yung 60 days na yun eh. But we thought it prudent to hold on first to our possible decision. In fact, there's already a draft decision available, Ses. Pero hindi muna namin dineliberate purposely. Kaya happy ako na yung sa DOJ is they're ready now with the resolution very soon. Tapos na yung mga preliminary investigation nila, which means that a resolution is forthcoming and possible cases could be filed if ever. The reason why we try to, I don't want to use the word delay, why we try to hold on first to the case is kung absuelto, di okay, di ba? Pero assuming na they're guilty in the admin cases, that means they will be dismissed if ever. And if they are dismissed and there will be warrants of arrest, hindi mo na alam paano hahanapin yung mga policemen na ito. And that would be a bigger concern. So that is why we are also awaiting and coordinating with the Department of Justice as to the results of their investigation. But ang pangako namin sa taong bayan at naalala ko dito na napag-usapan natin, 60 days napul ko.
Okay, so you're waiting for the resolution before you divulge your findings?
Siguro, simple put, parang ganon, Ses. Para mas, it will be a coordinated effort, if ever. Mahirap naman na hindi kanya-kanya ang galaw ng iba-ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Then, if ever, it will cause more problems. And I think it is really best that the government works together as a team para mabuo yung hustisya dito.
But the DOJ is aware, or is there supposed to be a China wall there? Are they aware of your report? The contents of your report?
We are sharing notes as far as investigation is concerned. I did not reveal to them what are the contents of the draft decision. But suffice it to say, says that we are coordinating. And hindi po nagsosolo ang DOJ, hindi rin po nagsosolo ang National Police Commission.
On another matter, if we may move to this disclosure made by DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla about 500 million being returned in unused intelligence funds which were inserted in the GAA. But should the NAPOLCOM be investigating how this came about? Also, he mentioned an additional 1 billion amphibious funds, vehicles funds. Well, they're anyway, that were also inserted, and the request these vehicles were for Region 5, which made him suspect former Congressman Saldico. Now, how these were made, kasi po, kaya ko tinatanong, yung modus kasi merong kasabwat eh. So, is the NAPOLCOM taking this into consideration, and should the NAPOLCOM be investigating, or you may already be investigating?
Siguro po, let me answer you this way. Okay. Nagsalita na po ang Secretary of Interior and Local Government na si Secretary Remulla. Very clear po that he did not accept the additional 500 million pesos allegedly placed in the budget of the Philippine National Police. Okay. And sufficiente po yun. Because sinoli naman po. And yung pong allegedly 1 billion amphibious funds, I don't know what that precisely is.
Purchase of amphibious vehicles.
Sa totoo lang po, Ma'am Ses, ngayon ko lang ko narinig yan. But the essence of it is, baka di na ko kailangan imbestigahan because it is hypothetical. Kung sabihin na ko natin na sa ibang ahensya, meron pong kakaiba ho doon, I fully trust the Philippine National Police. Hindi po natin para i-micromanage po ang PNP. Yun naman pong recommended po nila na budget for intelligence funds. Yun naman po yung nakalagay po ngayon sa pinag-uusapan po in the Congress and in the Senate. Yun po lumabas sa NEP. So I think it is hypothetical to say na there is fraud anywhere because precisely the Secretary of Interior did not accept. So kung ang tanong niyo po is there a need to investigate? Baka hindi po kasi hypothetical. Wala naman pong naganap. Ang siguro po, we need to focus our energy on more productive things. Napag-uusapan na rin po ang kaso Ma'am Ses. Nag-utos po tayo noon na nung po sumampa tayo noong April, ang medyo bold po ating mga declarations. Una ho, we said all cases must be resolved. New cases must be resolved within 60 days upon the filing of the complaint. Kasama po dyan yung sa Bongero case. And second po na very sweeping statement po natin is all cases must be resolved by December 2025. Libo-libo po ang kaso sa NAPOLCOM. Yung pong na-inherit ho natin the past commissions, sabihin na ho nating dekada. We had a 25-year backlog, Ses. So every Saturday po, tayo rin po ay nag-enbank. We decide roughly 100 cases per sitting. Ganun na po ka-toxic ang paghihiring po natin dito sa NAPOLCOM para lang po maubos po at ma-zero backlog na po natin yung libo-libong kaso na minanaho natin nung tayo po ay sumampa dito. And I'm happy to say that the commission is intact and is well we are geared towards having a zero backlog by maybe second week of December.
You're well on target. You're well on target.
We are well on target. Pero totoo, pagod na ho kami. Malaki na ho eyebags namin. Kung si Secretary Dizon mukha ng 70, 80 years old, nagmumukha na ho kaming 60 years old ho dito. But ganun talaga.
You're fishing for a compliment, Commissioner.
Hindi
na maputi ang buhok mo.
Maputi na ko, pumuti ho buhok ko dito.
Hindi naman halata, Commissioner. Pero speaking of Secretary Vince, he did take one of your parang kinuha lang niya sa'yo. But he did get one of the other commissioners, Attorney Rico Bernabe, as his now undersecretary. So medyo na ano ba kayo? I mean, is there a replacement? Is his spot going to be filled when?
So we're now down to 5 commissioners. Totoo po, kawalan po ang pagkaka-resign ni Commissioner Ricardo Bernabe III. He's now with Secretary Dizon. Nagsabi rin naman po si Sec Dizon kay SILG, pati po sa akin, napagkwentuhan po namin yung pag-alis po ni Commissioner Bernabe. Ramdam ho namin yung kawalan niya. Naghahabol na nga ho kami, nawalan pa kami ng isa. Pero ganun ho talaga. Malaki rin po ang problema ngayon sa DPWH. Ang problema naman po ng gobyerno ay dapat po i-solve natin collectively. So I hope Commissioner Bernabe is happy and being utilized well there in the DPWH because he has done a lot of heavy lifting here in the NAPOLCOM. Pero ho ngayon, kung triple time na ho kami ngayon, quadruple time na ho kami kasi kulang na ho kami ng isa. Hopefully, a new commissioner will be appointed soon. Pero kahit po kulang kami ng isa, pangako ho nga ho namin at tutuparin po namin, 0 cases by December 2025.
But Commissioner, just going back to the topic of intelligence funds, kahit si Secretary Remulla kasi nagulat kung gaano kalaki yung itinaas from NEP to GAA nung confidential funds. It's 70% increase, no, from 832 million naging 1.3 billion. Sino po ba dapat nagmo-monitor ng proper use of intelligence funds? Does NAPOLCOM closely monitor how the police spends these funds?
Theoretically, the NAPOLCOM has control and supervision over everything done in the Philippine National Police. Pero like I mentioned, I don't intend to be a micromanager. The National Police Commission will not micromanage the Philippine National Police. Ang trabaho po yan ng Chief Philippine National Police. Ang talaga rin pong nakatoka sa batas to look into confidential funds is the Commission on Audit. So all and every use of CIF po na tinatawag, confidential and intelligence funds, nililiquidate po yan ng user. Yung pong user na yon, pinapadala po yung kanilang liquidation documents only to one particular office. That is the Commission on Audit. Wala na po siyang ibang pinagpapadalahan, ni isa. So meron pong dedicated office po doon which actually just exists to audit confidential funds. So that is the function of the COA, a particular unit in the COA. And that part, we don't have optics to. At hindi na ho natin pinakikialaman po yan. And I know that the PNP has been using their funds diligently. Kita naman ho natin yung mga trabaho ho nila. At sabi ko nga po, ang leadership style ho natin ay hindi ho ganyan. We need to learn to trust the Chief PNP, the Philippine National Police. Wala po tayong nakikitang hocus-pocus po dyan as of now.
But the fact that there was an attempt to insert these funds, there was something waiting to happen. Napigilan lang. So
totoo nga, Ma'am Ses, natatawa nga po ako when you were, kulang na nga po, maging abogado kayo You were tactically interrogating. Magaling po ang line of questioning ninyo. You were asking the correct questions to the SILG yesterday. I watched it. And you're asking me the same questions now. Pero sabi ko nga po
well, thanks to Sean, because it was her idea that NAPOLCOM should have oversight.
Yes, true. True naman po. Pero sabi ko nga po, yun naman po ating control and supervision over the PNP. Kailangan naman po nasa lugar din. Meron naman pong, go ahead.
Yung point
Meron naman
niya,
kasing,
Go ahead, attorney.
meron po kasing talagang opisina na gumagawa po niyan Yan po yung COA CIF office.
But we cannot help but be suspicious because even COA, as proven in other instances in the DPWH, were in cahoots as well. Diba?
I understand. Maybe it is prudent to look into it. I'll have a discussion with the chief. Pero wala po tayong nakikitang problema po ngayon because it was not. Wala po nangyari doon Sinuli po ng SILG. Klaro-klaro po. I don't want to have any part in that.
Okay.
Sinuli po niya.
So let's now move to the abrupt dismissal of General Torre. Ba't kayong ngumingiti? Kasi he defied the NAPOLCOM, actually. So how much of a hand did you have in that very abrupt, terse statement from the palace?
Isa na po yung rason kaya ko magpa-interview
Nandiyan na po kayo So, alam naman.
Sabihin na lang ko natin, ma'am, we really need to protect institutions. And sumagot na po ang presidente ng Pilipinas, no less, the Philippine President, President Marcos, mentioned that yung pong pagkatanggal po ni General Torre was because of his refusal to follow the National Police Commission. Sabi po ng presidente yon. So I don't want to add or subtract to that. I will lie if I say that I was not present in meetings. Let's just say that si Presidente po yun, that is the sole prerogative of the President. And I can say nothing more, Madam Ses.
Chief PNP is now the last of the PMA graduates to hold that post. Meron bang, do you see friction between the PNPA, those from the PNPA and those from the PMA? Although they're
Wala po. Wala po at hindi ho dapat. In fact, I've been having that conversation with all the active members of the PNP, particularly the generals. Hindi po ito kwento ng PMA versus PNPA. Hindi rin po ito PNP versus the National Police Commission. Wala pong ganun. Ang atin po, kailangan lang po natin sundin at gawin yung po mga nakalagay sa batas. Sabi nga po ng Article 16, Section 6, there shall be one police force, national in scope, civilian in character, to be administered and controlled by a National Police Commission. Hindi ho maaari na solo flight po ang Philippine National Police. There is a civilian body on top of it, and we need to understand that there is civilian supremacy over the uniformed services. Yung pong atin ay check and balance mechanism. That's why we put in certain measures by which no abuses can be done. That is our job. And it is a difficult job, but we will do it. And kung kailangan po nating tayuan at panindigan po yung trabahong yun, gagawin po natin. At yun po ang ginawa po natin, Ma'am Ses.
So we thank you so much, Commissioner, for answering the call and for being with us tonight. Maraming pong salamat.
Yes, ma'am. Hope to see you soon, ma'am. And paglabas po namin ng decision sa Sabongero, we will let you know.
All right. That was Commissioner Rafael Calinisan of NAPOLCO.
Right now, in other news, Senator Rodante Marcoleta once again grilled the Department of Justice during a budget hearing earlier. That's for requiring contractor couple Sara and Curly Discaya to return their supposed ill-gotten wealth first before they could be evaluated for the Witness Protection Program. Marcoleta insists that the DOJ is, quote, imagining something that is not within the law. The senator said there is no direct requirement for restitution in the Witness Protection Act.
Wala namang nilalagay na restitution, ipipilit nyo para lang hindi sila ma-cover ng program. So anong mangyayari sa batas natin? You will insist on an opinion supplanting the requisites categorically provided by law. So pinipili nyo yung gusto nyo i-process.
However, Justice Undersecretary Jesse Andres said that the Discaya's application for WPP can only be granted if they have satisfied their legal and civil obligation. And that's where restitution comes in. But Marcoleta was adamant only the court has the sole power to decide on the requirements for witness protection.
Did they admit to you na sila ay nangulimbat ng ganito karaming pera? I have to explain myself.
Opo.
Hindi ko dinidepensa ng mga tao ngayon.
Opo.
Ginawa ko lamang yon doon sa nalalaman ko na ma-identify natin ang pinaka-mastermind dito. Yun lang, wala nang iba.
Opo.
Kung gusto nyong ang ma-identify, puro butete at saka sapsap, bahala na kayo sa buhay nyo.
He shall first execute a memorandum of agreement which shall set forth his responsibilities, including the following. So kasama po dun sa mga obligations.
Ano nga?
Ito po, to comply with legal obligations and civil judgments.
We'll be pausing for another quick break, but when we return, authorities roll out a unified RFID system across Luzon tollways to ease travel delays. That and more
The big story is back with a denial from Malacanang that Finance Secretary Ralph Recto has resigned from his post. In a text message to reporters, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, such rumors are, quote, not true. Recto has been the subject of online noise following his pronouncements on the expanded value-added tax, which he authored when he was still a senator. As DOF chief, he has insisted that lowering taxes at this point will only hurt the national budget and affect public services. The finance chief has also ranted about the impact of the flood control scandal on the economy. Recto has never addressed reports he is on his way out of the Marcos cabinet.
And here's some good news for motorists passing expressways in Luzon. There's no need to maintain multiple RFID tags as the government has launched the One RFID All Tollways system today. President Bongbong Marcos himself led the program's rollout. He said this initiative aims to achieve full interoperability across all toll expressways, allowing a hassle-free passage for motorists. The unified system was made possible by years of consultation among the Transportation Department, Toll Regulatory Board, and private concessionaires. That includes San Miguel Corporation of the South Luzon Expressway, or SLEX, and the Metro Pacific Investment Corporation of North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX.
Took a while, that's true, about 8 years, but it's finally here, and I think we should be grateful to Ramon and San Miguel for their utmost cooperation in this linkage. And then with government help, it got the push that it needed. No? Kasi previous years, medyo matumal ang mga support.
This project has been made possible because of the continued trust, commitment, and flexibility of our partner concessionaires, the operators, and ETC RFID providers.
To enroll in the new system, you can just fill up the form in the website of your chosen RFID provider, then install the new sticker and remove the old ones if there's any. Walk-in processing is also available in gas stations, toll gates, and other offices of the chosen provider. Now, if you only have one existing account, you can update your sticker or card online, and the process is completely free.
Our big picture tonight, it is Japan's first female prime minister, Sanai Takaichi. A staunch conservative and ally of former PM Shinzo Abe, she secured 237 votes from the 465-member lower house to become Japan's 104th leader. The new PM is expected to steer the land of the rising sun further to the right on key policy issues such as immigration and social reform. Her rise to power is not necessarily a feminist victory, according to her critics, since the 64-year-old leader is considered a hardliner, especially when it comes to economic security and defense. And here's a bit of trivia about Takaichi. She was once a drummer in a college heavy metal band. Her political idol, the so-called Iron Lady, the late British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
Girl power.
Oh, wow. Should we cheer or jeer?
Well, I mean, Japan, conservative.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Who would have thought,
Yeah,
right?
that they finally came. Except that they say she's like veering
Very
to the right too
here.
much. But let's see.
But
Yeah,
she's
we
also
should-
like
we should cheer. Tama ka.
we should cheer. She's ally siya ni, parang kumbaga mentee siya ni Shinzo Abe. So
Ayan.
Abenomics yung may expect nila, which is good for them now.
Right.
All right, and that will do it for us this Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching The Big Story.
We are back here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. We'll see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.
And it's exactly 8:31. Coming up next, we have play-by-play with Andre Felix and Denise Stan. Guys, what do you have for us today?
Well, thank you again, ladies of The Big Story. On our show, we've got a preview of tomorrow's opening day doubleheader in the NBA, plus a look at the MVP race in UAAP men's basketball.
And we've also got some updates on gymnastics golden boy Carlos Yulo and tennis sensation Alex Ayala as they continue